Hello fellow Kerbalnauts, this is Neppy with episode number 3 of my shuttle program. This time I'm actually calling it episode 3. So, sorry for the long wait, I had to fix some troubles and we're now zooming in on the updated shuttle. I had to reconstruct the whole, let's say, lifting body, especially the wings. And here we can see the updated version, which was up only for one test flight, because when I tried this, a part broke off. It's the middle part of the wings. I'll point it out in a second. And I could land it without the middle part. So yeah, this middle part here, exactly these wings came off right when I tried to launch the whole thing. So I decided to skip the whole thing as I was able to land safely without this section. So now we of course wonder, can we re-enter safely with this whole thing? You can see here only the back part and the front wings are still there. And I had to test if this whole thing actually is able to re-enter, and I had a few test flights before this recording which were able to land and to re-enter and don't break up or burn up or lose control completely. So before I recorded this, I was trying a few flights. The shuttle is still constructed for a lot of payload, and here I'm trying to push the orbit a little bit further south so I can hit the space center. I wasn't really thinking that I will be able to hit the space center, and yeah, we're at 4 times acceleration here for the video because it took hours to land this thing. When you see how slow it's actually decreasing in speed, I think it still takes like 15 or 20 minutes to deorbit and land the whole thing. So we're now flying just over the deserts here, and I still try to push the orbit further south and always check, and apparently it is moving. So we get enough lift, enough drag to actually influence the direction we're flying in. And I was fighting a little bit not to lose control, even though this thing is kind of like a dart. Apparently it stabilizes itself. If you let it, then it will always go kind of to the prograde vector, and yeah, it still doesn't break so much then or decelerate, but it's quite stable getting down. And now we're hitting the atmosphere, the deep atmosphere, and starting to get some re-entry heat. You can see we're quite fast still, lost about 150 meters per second, flying over one of the big oceans here. And we already see the mountains just next to the space center ahead of us. And you can see I'm fighting to keep it controlled and to still push it further south. Yeah, the re-entry, to get some heated parts here, but lately I hadn't had some parts heated up, and especially not breaking up because of heat. Ooh, now we come back to yeah, 1 time normal speed, let's say, because here I am losing control. It happened to me the last few times I tried to deorbit this thing that I lost control, comparable to the other spacecraft, but this one is able to stabilize, I hoped. As you can see, I have a lot of delta V left, almost like, I don't know, 3/4 of the tank here are still full. So that's what I'm trying here, to stop the spin. You can see the space center ahead, but not so much luck here. So I thought, maybe I'll try the big engines again, those huge vector engines that are actually made to be the space shuttle engines. Still trying. Now I give up. And the spin continues, but we can see it's slowing down here. And I'm hoping, please, 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 let me get control. Spin is further slowing down, and we can see the prograde vector coming up on the bottom of the nav ball. And finally here I regain control. Still not a very good horizontal speed is okay, but the vertical speed is way too fast, so now I'm trying to lift it up and back to a little time acceleration, because now I'm basically back in control. Only trying to get over those mountains, use the last of the fuel I have to just make sure that I get... Is this K2? I think this is K2. This little peak just in front of us. They probably made it so it's in the direct way if you try to land on the runway of the Space Center, which of course I was aiming for in this case, but unfortunately I don't think we have enough speed here, or height. Height is life insurance for pilots, as we know. So I don't think I have enough life insurance to get to the Space Center, so I'm deciding to wobble around, no, get down and land it just in the grasslands here. Shouldn't be too bumpy, so that's what I'm trying to do now, getting down. But you can guess, you know, from here what could go wrong. But that's what we always think, and then something goes wrong. That's what this Kerbal space program is all about. You think everything is fine, and then you hit some troubles, and you will not be able to make it. But we'll see. Yeah, this shouldn't be a problem to land. We're almost a little more than 1.5 kilometers up, and so it's time to slow down a little bit, get the gear out. That's probably what I do in a second. Yep, there's the gear, which I initially attached the wrong way, and touchdown. Nice slow touchdown, braking down, and coming to a start of the whole thing, to a launch. We're already 10 kilometers up here. Sorry for the big cut, but I forgot to record the first minute of the flight. So we're coming up here. This thing is vastly overpowered, as we could see from the landing, that we still had some delta V left, and explosions all over. The boosters separate beautifully, but hit each other and then break off. So this thing is built to basically bring a payload of 40 tons into orbit. That's why I need this huge lifter, this huge booster stages, to actually accomplish that. I try to not really to put as much as possible in the bay for the payload, but one of those big orange tanks fits nicely with some monopropellant tank, the big one. So I thought, yeah, why not? Let's just bring as much as possible into orbit. So now I'm trying to wiggle around with the orbit. I'm always aiming for about 150 kilometer orbit, and that's what this thing is capable of, to bring 40 tons into a 150 kilometer orbit, which is quite nice. So after really fine-tuning here, fine-tuning there, oh no, I want my 150, 146, 149, okay, whatever, let's take it. Nope, let's not take it. Within 3 kilometers, and I decide, okay, cool, let's take this. Don't wiggle around more with the maneuver nodes, and putting up, and one click wrong, all the maneuver node is gone, and I of course have to do it again. In the editor you could of course make undo, but I don't know if it's there for maneuver nodes, so I'm planning it again. MacJeb isn't really working. I think it's in the shuttle as well, but with a switch to the new versions, the 1.1 or 1.12 or whatever we have now. I haven't got every mod running yet. It doesn't really matter, because it's not about parts. It's more like the flight engineer and the life support is not working, but the flight engineer is, and some parts are working, some parts are not working, but it's just assistance. This is kind of all for me to play it in a stock version, so no modded parts, just the basics, and all the shuttle is made out of the basics. So now we're getting into line for the injection burn. I have an apoapsis of about 150 kilometers, but the periapsis is still in minus. So this is the orbital insertion burn. Coming up here. And thrust up. I like the colors of those engines. They're really beautiful. It's a really beautiful game. Very frustrating on a lot of times, but very beautiful. So the boosters run out, and separation. I think I have to put some solid, like some separation boosters on this as well. On the other two stages I have, but for some reason in these there are none. So we flip around, give them a little kick, and they're off. So let's go for the final insertion. I will drop the big tank as well. Don't really need it up there. It will have a lot of delta V left, as we will see in a few seconds. Yeah, but let's just enjoy this view of the space shuttle powered up. Okay, coming up on the positive numbers real soon. Minus 150, 100. The periapsis is rising, and we're in positive now. So I'll just make sure that we're on a scale that I can drop this thing and it will re-enter, and we can see with 555 meters per second it was dropped. There is something in the cargo bay, but I'm not going to show it to you this time. We'll leave that for the next episode. This isn't just a test flight. Thanks for watching, and yeah, see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.